No? Okay. So let's get it started. We do have a quorum, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. We have motion to adopt the agenda.
Was that a motion?
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Just a request if we can move action item number 4 to number 1.
Absolutely, yes. Everybody agree with them?
Yeah. I just.
Oh, motion, sorry.
Second. Okay, mine. Second. Perfect.
Now we can have a motion to adopt.
Motion.
Okay, second. Okay, perfect, yes. So now we're number 1 now. I called it the Celebration Chocolate Stroll. I'm sorry, that was already out. It's a celebration or chocolate adventure.
Okay.
Okay, so, this is, in relation to the Celebration Women's Club. I have both of the ladies here in the audience with us. This is on October 11th. They're doing a chocolate stroll, with the businesses in Island Village with North Celebration Point. All the benefits, 100% proceeds will go to, the Celebration schools. So what they're doing as far as like why they're here for us is the Island Village Clubhouse. Parks and Rec is going to partner with the Women's Club on having a pop-up for Celebration residents. So as a resident, you can come in on that day, on October 11th, we're gonna have a movie playing, whether it's Willy Wonka, Wreck-It Ralph. We're gonna have like an arts and crafts table where kids can make their own chocolate bars, aka the bar itself, not the chocolate. And potentially just kind of have like a little station. We're looking into potentially popcorn, but this will be open for all residents. And I know, this is, well, this is from 11 to 3.
Okay.
So I'm gonna kind of talk to you with the 11 and 3.
All right,
So I'm
sounds
gonna
good.
show that we're partnering, with the Women's Club. This request specifically about a sponsorship is in regards to their equipment request. So, tables, tents, and chairs. Let me go to that page for you, so you know the number of equipment.
Where would we have to set up the tables and stuff? Will be here on the side?
So this will not be here, this will be in front of the businesses.
Oh,
So
okay.
it would be, the brewery, potentially in front of, Culver's, right? Yes. Over to the right of Scoops as well, unless that's the same location.
No,
Oh, okay, yeah. So this is on the property that Colburn already approved. If it's in front of the brewery, they just need permission from the brewery. So you're looking at 14 white chairs, 6 tables, and 5 10 by 10 tents.
and it's just for the business's permission? Because I know back in New York, we'd have to get the property manager's permission to be able to put something on the sidewalks.
So they already received permission
Okay,
from here. So this would be to waive the fee so we can be considered a sponsor. However, they understand if our team sets up and tears down, we are required to reimburse Kroger.
Okay.
How much is that?
$50 an hour.
Yeah. One of the schools.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds very
So we
good.
just need a motion and a second, so we can be sponsors and partner, with the Celebration Women's Club.
Second.
Okay, okay, all in favor? Aye. You're all set?
Thank you very much.
Good job.
See you guys October the 11th.
Thank you, ladies.
No, it's because you're gonna open 11.
I'm gonna open, it's considered a, Parks and Rec. Now the first item is now the, or second meeting minutes.
Yeah, approval of the meeting minutes. Has everybody read them? Everybody's good with them? So your motion's pass?
Motion.
Second?
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Okay, so now we're going to go to, let's approve the minutes. 3, superhero case, budget stuff.
Did you see this already? Or is this something?
This is something different.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of 5Ks that are in this town.
Sorry.
Oh, no, you were good. That was, pink on parade, pink on parade. So this 5K, this is their 9th annual superhero 5K, so we've been working with them, for 9 years already. This is in relations to, they raise money, for Florida families, battling ovarian, pediatric cancer. What they do is they actually pay for Lakeside Park. They're just asking for a request for fee waivers and for us to be considered a sponsor. So they understand for this event, they have to pay for Lakeside, to utilize it. We're just trying to waive the equipment fees for them.
I think it's a good
I
idea.
think so too.
Which we've done historically.
But not, we have done it
Yeah.
for 9 years.
Keep it coming.
And they also understand that anyone who utilizes Crow's equipment has to pay for SAC time.
Yep.
So it doesn't offset the cost of the budget.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Me.
Meg. Next is the ladies open plate tennis request for schedule adjustment.
So Barbara wasn't able to show up, but I kind of included her letter in here that I'll be happy to read. So she wrote, "Dear committee members, the women's open tennis has certainly enjoyed their earliest start this summer, so thank you. We conducted a survey of our group using SurveyMonkey and found that majority of our members would like to maintain the 7 a.m. start time permanently. Of our 23 members, 17 participated in the survey. We would like to firmly request the Women's Open Tennis League to be scheduled on Mondays and Thursdays from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Like Lori said, she was on the committee as well. We used to have a lot of concerns with the tennis courts. As you all were aware, in June, we've done a workshop and we're gonna revisit this in September, October. I personally am okay if it's over the summer because of the heat. But if I do this for one group, I have to do it for the next group.
I agree.
But I'm not a fan to hear that if their time is 7, they're coming in at 6:30. So that's kind of a major concern as far as Parks and Rec.
Agreed.
It's also in violation of the also Open Noise Ordinance, which starts at 7.
Seven.
So regardless if they're playing and making noise, it's contrary to that.
Maybe they need to be informed of that.
And the approval was for the summer, so this is coming in.
They're requesting after the
They're,
summer.
they're basically requesting for the month of September. So they were approved for June, July, and August. This is starting in September, that they want to keep it permanent.
And then are there lessons at 7 a.m. currently?
As for, with Darren, there is, but that's on court 3.
No,
3,
this
4,
is-
5.
Speak for the clubs.
Yeah.
And their original start time was 8.
We pushed it to 8:30 to 10:30.
I'm assuming the assumption from them is that they continue to show up early in practice, or warm up to some.
So even if we say 8:30, 10:30, unfortunately, residents do show up before those hours.
If they're like a.
Right, I'm just saying, their intention is to warm up prior to,
Yeah,
they're cutting into their own time and saying that it's 7.
right.
Because in some capacity, it should be enforced that they can't start till 7.
Right.
So,
So, and that's why when we talked in our June workshop, it would be great to have a fence, you know, because that way you have
Sure.
to scan in.
And you're not
Because
going to get in.
right now, you can have people, even if we adjust the lights, right? They're still bringing flashlights or something to play, at least that's on the basketball court.
The fence is short.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Adults can hop that.
Right.
Most of them are much older, so.
But there's a little.
The goal was, previously with the recreation committee is we were trying to make time for residents to play if they didn't want to be a part of the group. So that's why the groups were switched 8:30 to 10:30. So from 7 to 8:30, you had residents able to utilize those courts before work.
Well, I thought it was a reasonable request to push it back because of the heat of the summer. I don't think that should be maintained. I don't know how anybody else feels about it. And if they are there earlier, then you definitely, they have to be informed. It's a violation of the law.
Yeah, the problem is with enforcement. I can say that I'm part of the group, but I'm just here by myself today.
Right.
There's no way to really,
But that's
if you make it later, it makes it better for them, and to your point.
Right, but as Nori was saying, there were people out there at 6:45 in the morning.
100%, because they want to get.
And she had, she took pictures in this time to the
Because you can get like 2 or 3 extra games, just getting there 10, 15 minutes early. I mean, everybody does that.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think we should just go revert back to what it was originally. Get my early one more month of it being super hot, like September, and then October, then it'll start getting a little bit more reasonable.
So they have to go, it's till the end of September, the new term schedule?
This would start September 1st.
Yeah, it's in August.
September is hot, so.
Okay, so
Yeah,
September
that's-
is revert
Yeah.
back to the time.
Yeah.
How about you could give them one more month in September,
Best behavior.
make it
Anything.
7:15 start, that way they can't get there early, if there's complaints, and
And it goes all the way back to 8:30. Like, that's a pretty,
So from May to September,
Yeah.
7 to 9, October.
then it starts, that'll give them a month, and then, it's not that, it's hot, but it's not.
Yes, it is. So as Dory was saying there, they have been using foul language. That needs to be curtailed.
Not the women's group.
Oh, not the women's
Not
group.
just the
Well,
guy.
then that's-
I mean,
I know they, in my opinion, they've enjoyed 2 months of what they requested during the hottest time of the year. I think we agreed to the summertime months that we should go back.
will we expect that people will go who are not part of the group, or will they say that they're not part of the group? So if the court's open officially at what time?
At 7.
At 7 a.m. So someone's going to be there
Yes.
regardless.
Yes, when we did audits, we used to do like a week or two, people did show up at 6:45, even when we had our team
Did they
do audits. Yeah, they waited.
Who were not part of the.
Who were not part of the group that were like, I'm just trying to get here before the groups.
And that makes it available for them as well then.
Yeah,
So
so
they-
they say,
and they'll be quiet because they're coming just with 2 people, like you come in a group, you're talking, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
So,
I like the 7:15 start, to see that we shifted a little bit, because maybe you're not showing up. But, and then shifting during,
and then make it just for September.
yeah, and just make it for September. I think that the conversation, sharing, I think obviously the language has to be addressed. But I have a feeling that it's like, don't ruin a nice, it's a little bit of a logical, don't ruin a nice thing.
Is there a way to send out an email and just be like, hey, we know you
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I know that you've been there prior to
Yes.
this will be,
become enforced in like, when you're asked, not like phrase it this way, but when you're asking for favors, you probably should.
adhere to them,
And
like,
and be respectful.
yeah.
Didn't we do this last year, same thing too, and in end of August, we're done with it, so they were like, okay with it?
Yeah, they were okay with it, but now they're asking to push it permanently, formal.
I don't think we should do it on a permanent basis at all.
I love
Maybe,
No, I'm-
maybe another,
Or something, like if you had a track record that this was working and
and they were
understand.
respecting.
Yeah, but I know that it'll probably come up with conversation when we look at the contract for the tennis pro, that probably we're not gonna have, if I were to propose, we're not gonna have lessons at 7 a.m.
Of course, you can move.
Yeah, you could move them
Can you
over,
compare
like,
it to their court, and then they go to the other court?
So the reason why we didn't do that previously is we had the kids closer for the restroom usage, because parents drop off their kids.
Was that an issue? Like people were like, hey, it's so far, or was it?
Well, residents were upset when we told them we were moving Darren, but he also was allowed 3 courts. So he had like one, yeah, so it was a little bit ruckus to have court 1 and 2 and 3.
Oh, gotcha.
able to shift, especially if they're being consistent needs. I'm not saying, I don't know what the schedule perfectly is, and I know we'll do a deep dive
So-
in a month, but
Would you suggest that maybe we have a team member here at 7 a.m.? Okay. We allow them to go, have an additional month, and we can have that team member audit for you guys for a week or 2 to see how it is. Revisit this at the next rec meeting, so we can say, here's the numbers. This is what we found out, that you are arriving here at 6:30, 6:45, you're not following the rules, and that's something that you all can.
Trying to think in the interest of everyone.
Yeah.
The intent is to get more residents the time to use them, but the women are gonna show up whatever their time is. They're going to play whether it's 7 a.m. or 8:30 or whatever. If you
Yeah.
go back to the time that they have,
Yeah.
in theory, you're more likely to have people show up at that 7 o'clock time to play than at 10 or 11 when it's
or they're just
in the
gonna show
middle of
up
the day.
then.
Or
Or they're
there's-
going to
and
show up and be like, we have 7 a.m. and
At least if they think they have a concession, we can say, hey, you gotta be quiet, or whatever.
Yeah.
And rather be able to have a group to email that you know,
Potentially.
yeah, that you're able to send an email to a group versus you have no idea what resident, because it's not a badge in, badge out that we know who's using it.
Like I can imagine 7 a.m. is annoying, but in terms of county law, 7 a.m. is the time. Like it,
But if I have a team member come in at 7, this meeting said that they're playing at 6:30, so are we talking about not having the lights come on?
That probably.
I would say yes.
I like that.
So we had, I mean, cut you off, in June, we had residents speak saying that they wanted the lights, it was like 15 minutes or 30 minutes ahead because it was too dark out there, that's why.
Oh, yeah.
But now it's light.
But now it's, yeah, but now it's more of a concern as they wanted it on to play at 6:30.
Yeah.
Not for the safety.
So it's sliding up anyway. You can-
Yeah.
They turn on, when they turn on, you know you're able to play.
Yes,
It's
it's
probably driven, other people have driven, most people are not walking down in the dark over. They're driving, so I understand the safety element, but you're gonna have at least however many cars, at least a dozen cars.
Doors closing.
Yeah, this is not that there are two people all by themselves in a dark, on a dark court.
Right.
And the easiest thing to do is just give them the month and that's it. And then you're solving your problem. Then you don't have to worry about other factors. You know, team member having to come and look. It'll be quiet if someone's out there.
Okay.
That's gonna be a lot. I'm saying, you know that if you're being watched, you're gonna be like in line. you know,
Alright.
so.
This consensus, give them one additional month, 7 o'clock, nothing before, we turn off the lights and someone will go audit the courts.
And a message out
And yes,
to both groups.
notification to them.
So additional month and then starting in October, they're back to the 8:30, 10:30.
Mm-hmm. Notification to the club. And maybe, I would say make it clear to them that, you know, it's a noise ordinance, that has to be.
Very easy.
Yes.
And to curtail the foul language.
And what we can also, or shout.
Shouting.
Okay, that's better, shouting.
Just any,
Because then they'll say, no, we don't swear
Yes.
that.
someone's probably, someone has a routine on this.
Oh, of course,
Yeah, so, like, it's a,
Then your outburst of frustration on your plate, that's it.
And if residents find it, there's a number to call because it is in violation.
yeah.
And
I was gonna say that could be part of the Monday matters too,
I think that's
that's blast the importance of following the rules.
Do you think we need to shift the court over so it's not quite so close to me or so?
It's a double court, you won't be.
All right, so I think this is, everybody's in agreement?
Seems like fair, because if that way you get rid of the heat thing, which is the main reason we changed the time.
Knowing it's been an ongoing discussion, I know it's relatively new, but how much would it cost, or is it partnering with technology to see if we were to put, like, is there a multi-year?
Yeah, so I.
Sorry, I'm like opening up the can of-
Mini back then.
For
I mean,
Oh, that's happening, so the tech committee is in Telex.
we were looking
Yes.
at putting, key card scanners.
Yes.
And this was during COVID, in 2020, it was $80,000 to do that back then, so. Because they have to run the cords all the way down.
And it would have to partner with a higher fence too, so people did.
Yes,
shop.
yeah, they would have to
So-
resist.
So, so it's really like, what's the, not shelf life, but like, what's the life of the courts until you're having to rewire and redesign, which is a while. But it's one
Plus
of
you
the,
have to put up a different fence altogether.
yeah,
Um,
which basically essentially leveling and starting.
Right, but I really think that would resolve all of our problems on the lake side, even the basketball court.
Or the resort, let's use it, the resort combo with.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that shortly.
Yes.
Okay, heads up, positive news about that, so.
Okay.
Okay, so let's think about that for another time. We'll put that
So
in
1
the
month
future.
extension,
1 month extension, the lights don't go on anymore, they're notified that they cannot be on the night before, and the shouting.
Yes.
Okay,
So we just need a motion.
motion to accept,
motion,
second?
second, or second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed about that? All right. Okay, very well. Okay. Parks and Rec update. So about tennis, we had that rec workshop. Kind of wanted to give you guys updates of those easy, quick wins that we were talking about. So now we may have to revisit this one because we were told to adjust the lights schedule 30 minutes before and 30 minutes after. We updated that. So now Dory's right, they're on at 6:30. So I can revisit that and put it back to 7. Because I want to cause any.
I don't,
No, yes.
I don't think it's after either. It feels like it's more of a, like, you need to go home.
Okay.
I don't
At
think
this time of the year, it's still bright out.
Okay, so if I can just get the committee to motion second, so we can move back to 7.
Okay, Okay, the
Motion.
motion to change the lights back to 7.
So I got Stephanie and Kevin. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed about that? Alright, so now they're back at 7, so we'll update that again. So Shade Solutions, Danny and I looked at courts, 1 and 2, those are the double courts. There's no shade at all, at least not towards the Marisol side, there's a tree. So we installed these 2 umbrellas, it did not cost anything additional. We kind of reuse, reduce, and recycle. We are in the process of some of the pools getting umbrella updates, so we just took the decent umbrellas from those pools that were gonna be trashed, they're now over here. They're actually on a base underneath the benches, and the base is concrete, so you won't have kids messing around with that.
Great solution.
So we have a shade now on courts 1 and 2. The other concern was a resident-only access sign. It says celebration only, or I think it says resident only, but we want to update it to say celebration residents only. We're waiting to finalize an order with the A-frame inserts in front of Town Hall while the building's being under construction. There's a monument sign in front of Town Hall that we're required to put board meetings on. So right now, they're trying to make sure it's consistent, so we can say Canoa meeting this Wednesday or board meeting. So once I get all those A-frame inserts, it will officially say celebration residents only, but right now there are signs on all tennis courts that say residents only.
Good.
Advantage Tennis,
One quick one, do we need to have on there about with proper ID?
there's already a sign that says, you'll be trespassed, or it's considered trespassing. So we talked about also schedule a discussion with Advantage Tennis regarding Star Island to ensure contractors abide by the terms outlined in the agreement. Danny and I had a conversation with Darren and mentioned it about his program. It is causing negative feedback with his program. So he officially split with the Star Island coaches. So Star Island, you should not hear anything about Star Island. And now there'll be less coaches teaching, which means there's more space for residents to utilize the courts. So I just kind of wanted to throw that and give you all a heads up that Star Island should not be brought up again.
Okay.
As far as additional notes, summer breakout, after doing the expenses, summer breakout made a profit of $15,000. So that's going back into the Parks and Rec income. And upcoming events, as far as the lifestyle team, on September 13th, they're doing a battle of the food trucks. September 20, there's a home expo, both of those are located at Lakeside Park. As far as the committees, like upcoming events, September 22nd, we have a funky art pop-up event over at Heritage Hall, complimentary. September 26th, there's a Kids Night Out event at Heritage Hall. It's going to be themed more of a fall theme. Registration's already open. They close a week before the event starts. And then October 4th, we have Fortune Yard Sale. Registration's already open. Again, it closes a week beforehand. If you're a resident that's in a condo, apartment, etc., you're allowed to purchase a table downtown at Lakeside Park. If you're a homeowner, you don't have to purchase a sign, but you could be purchased on a sign to be on our maps. And then, yeah, that's all the Parks and Rec updates I have, so if anyone has any questions.
I know it came up, not part of Advantage Tennis, but there was reference to like a college team or high school, some team coming down and using it. Did you ever find out who it was?
So we unfortunately just had random minivans that just show up because they're here to play a tournament.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things, we believe, because it was not a consistent coming back.
Okay,
Yeah.
just more of a,
Happy to be there.
okay.
Happened to be there. Finally, Mayberry Security, they did Monday through Sundays. That actually stopped on August 17th, and now they're only Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So if you have any concerns, Monday through Thursday, that would be the Parks and Rec team. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday would be Mayberry Security you could call.
Are we gonna help them during like the peak times of?
It's gonna be the peak times, yep. So when the kids are out of school, we're gonna.
Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Correct, yep.
Okay, perfect. Ideally, we also look at, yes, when the kids are out of school, but also when other kids are out of school and coming
Yes.
here.
Yes.
Like this April, like there are, it just becomes a huge influx.
And just so you're aware, it was actually added to do the same thing like what we did this summer in the 2026 budget, to have Mayberry Security, Monday through Sundays.
Oh, you're right.
all year round, but at least more of the, like, when we had
Well,
3
I changed.
officers
Right.
over the summer, that's what,
Right.
they're planning on doing as well.
Wonderful.
Anyone else have any questions about Parks and Rec?
Oh, just as a side note, it just popped into my head. How has the non-resident party issue had it been going over the summer? Has there been, is it improved? Did you still have a lot of issues?
Are you talking about just
Like,
showing up?
yeah, spring break parties. Has it gotten better or?
Well, when we had security, they gave me the reports, it got less, because we were constantly checking.
That's great.
So what I tell my team, now that they're not here, we still gotta go and we have to check, because the more they see us, the
Exactly.
more they're like, oh, we can't tell our friends to come back here, so. So it keeps it constant.
The grills have opened, like they have the, are they gonna get taken out? Or?
Are you talking about for Spring Lake or?
Yes, Spring Lake.
I think they are keeping them in there.
I know they had some sort of caution.
It was the actual, the pavilion itself, yeah, so the grills are gonna be staying.
Got it.
Okay, great. And family?
Oh, that was Superior Fire, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we're also,
Well, we didn't miss that one. Check.
yeah, there's nothing else about parks and if we can get to the social services.
Yes. Do we need to have a vote on the reading? No.
No, it's just an update, I go. So I know for the scope of work and contracts, that was kind of the thing that we wanted to talk about moving forward. This is actually the best time of year to discuss it, because I know in September, October, we're gonna kind of dig more deep in these contracts. So the scope of work, we have one for rec programs as well as clubs. This is kind of like the meat that the rec committee reviews. Pages in the contract, 1 through 5 or 1 through 6 is all attorneys. That's something we can't even touch. But the scope of work is basically, this is how we can hold these department programs accountable. So we can go through each line item, and I also included private in places scope or contract, so you can actually see like where exactly it's included. The rec committee last year, we went through an updated scope of work. This year, just reviewing it with certain contractors and whatnot, half of this I don't think needs to be required. And some of it unfortunately just didn't work out. So if everyone's okay, we can kind of go through line item by line item. And we'll start with the recreation programs scope of work. So this is going to be generic information, and then I'll say exhibit C, it'll talk more in detail. So I gave an example just to kind of show you all. So the rec program scope of work, the facility will be available to the contractor on a mutually agreed upon schedule for the use of black lanes, tennis court, indoor spaces, and green fields at designated locations. Again, this is generic, and it says usage schedule is defined on exhibit C. Contractor will be subject to a monthly facility fee under or due by the 15th of each month. All rules and regulation of the facility must be followed, and Crow may conduct random unannounced audits. Non-compliance could result in termination of the usage agreement. This is something obviously that does work, because we want to ensure that they're at their exact spot at the exact same time. When you don't have something like this, that's how you have trainers in the gym or people being where they're not supposed to be. And also confusion between two programs where you think, oh, they just have the tennis courts and another group shows up as well. So we want to make sure they tell us their exact schedule so we can put it in the contract.
Just a thought, instead of could result, can we say will result in termination? Or is that you want to just?
That's something that we can.
You and I,
You want to get it,
I would say, yeah, because then you're not legally bound to do it.
it's good.
You're not the option to, but you're not required.
And you guys, you can sometimes redo it, it's like proven, there's like evidence that actually did it, yes, could is,
Okay, so I will leave it
We'll leave it for now.
could possibly be.
And now that we kind of changed, like the Parks and Rec department, where it says that we're doing or conduct random unannounced audits, that's something myself and Danny are gonna start doing in the upcoming weeks. So you'll start seeing us go through programs to make sure that their coaches are accurate, how they're treating the kids as well. Because the worst thing is when you go through a contract renewal, the worst thing is someone stands up and says the coach was harassing someone or being oppressive, and none of us were aware of this. So that's something that Danny and I are gonna start doing. So you'll see more of these, audits.
That's a great idea.
Next one is, should your program use equipment owned by CROA, a deposit will be requested and outlined in Exhibit C, which is $300. Quarterly walkthrough with management and a contractor signature will be required, during which both management and the contractor will review and submit a checklist. This process will occur with each walkthrough. If the contractor is approved to utilize CROA-owned equipment, the specific items and deposit amount will be outlined in Exhibit C. The contractor is responsible for auditing CROA equipment daily before use to ensure all items are free of damage. Any broken or damaged equipment must be reported to CROA immediately. So we've had programs submit yearly deposits. Again, this does not occur for all programs. Like Mike, you're considered a program, you don't really need to do a deposit. So it varies on each program. So that's why there is an Exhibit C. Our programs do a really good job on telling us, I'm just picking on you, if the lines for the beach tennis or beach volleyball court need to be replaced, Mike lets me know. Marco, if the net's broken at the complex, our programs do a really good job to let us know. So I really would like to keep this included, because our programs actually ensure that the equipment, they actually care about the
And if it's
community.
going well, there's no need for evidentiary proof, this is before and now this is this.
Correct. Okay, this is generic, so the contractor is responsible for all aspects of the program, including but not limited to year-round competitive activities, club level participation, private lessons, family events, and competitions or performances. Contractor will be responsible for organizing participants registration, managing team rosters or group lists, establishing practices or rehearsal schedules, coordinating events, and providing necessary materials such as uniforms, equipment, trophies, participant medals, and other supplies required. Should the contractor require additional staff services, there'll be an hourly rate of $50 an hour. Price may vary on each event.
Sounds good.
Okay. This is something, the next line, storage, did not work out so well. So the contractor will have access to store items in an approved unit or facility. CROA is not responsible for any lost or damaged items. The storage unit may not be updated or altered without written consent. Only authorized personnel with background checks from the organization will have access to the unit code. Sharing the code with unauthorized personnel will result in cancellation of the storage unit. And the previous committee, we talked through, when we thought small, medium, and large units. It got very, very confusing because you had people go, is this considered small, medium, large? So I personally don't mind having people store equipment in our facilities because I want to make sure that the partner programs are set up for success. The worst thing is we have programs that have mats that they have to bring in for safety concerns so kids don't hit their heads. I don't want them to say, sorry, you're lost, but if Danny has rentals, they're good at removing items from the room. Or if our team could do it ourselves, we'll be happy to do it. But I just wanted to bring that up to the committee level. I do want to ensure that we keep CROA not responsible for lost or damaged items and that their personnel with a background check with the organization will only have access to move their equipment.
Based on experience, are you suggesting a defined size limit for small, medium, large? Is that what you're saying would help?
Or just one size and this is the flat rate and this is the max you can
It would
store?
probably be one size, so I'm trying to give an example. So the complex, we have 3 different storage units, but we also use some of that storage unit. So I don't want to charge someone and it's like, oh, but CROA has to take it over. So it gets confusing as do we pay half, do we not? If there's a hurricane, sometimes we have to move stuff out. Jones room, they store it in the kitchen, maybe on top of the refrigerator, in the cabinets. It gets a little bit tight and it's kind of like Tetris in a way. So that's why I'm saying it's hard to charge someone for storage because we got a lot of negative feedback from our programs about this.
What if, this is just an idea, if you raise the amount to deter less people from storing it, and then you.
Or what type of negative feedback did you have?
Well, it's the small, medium,
Oh,
and
just the
large.
size of it.
Yeah, it was the size and the yearly rate of it. They weren't happy to see that.
That's very expensive.
I know.
I know, it's like, what, maybe in the middle and call it like 350 or 360, but if you need to store things, it's just a flat
A flat rate.
a flat rate.
And
And-
they share his spaces, right?
Yeah, that's the problem, they share spaces
what's
with
that?
people, so.
Because
Because
if there's
it-
liability to that, somebody takes something that doesn't belong to them.
Yeah, so think about it like it could be this room for a second, okay, you can store stuff in here, but also another program can store stuff in here.
Yeah,
So that's
like
why
fields and
Because
fences
stuff
and-
gets
yeah.
used or taken.
Yeah.
Then who's liable for that?
How many partner programs do we have using storage? Like roughly, is it less than 10? Is it more than 20?
I would not say it's more than 10, I would say between 5 and 7.
Okay.
Build long cages, talk cages.
Yeah.
There should
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also, it's hard because we're trying to make it look presentable for the rentals as well. So we used to have like locked cabinets in Jones' room, but it didn't look pleasing to the rentals. So then you're asking them to move, for us to move it out of the
There's also, I would think, an issue of somebody saying, oh, I want to store this in there. Next thing you know, with this, with that, and this,
That's actually happening.
It is
Yeah,
happening.
one of
That's-
the programs.
that's not right.
Yeah.
That's very unfair to everyone else.
For this, were they able to always store things?
Everything was kind of like a free-for-all. Wherever you found space, people
But then
started
you're taking
adding.
your own responsibility, like you're taking your own liability. If you're
Yep.
choosing to leave your things,
Well, can we limit how much goes into?
Well, I think it's because each
You know, the cubic
location
foot kind of-
varies.
Right,
So-
maybe if we say the small unit, you can have random number, 10 cubic feet. Or
I'm trying, I understand where you're.
like say,
coming
okay,
from.
those
I'm trying to
phases
keep
can
it
go, but
simple.
not double that, I know. like,
Yes.
That's,
these aren't just like, in my head, it's like one of the, those black bins with the yellow tops. Like if your stuff fits in here, you can.
good
keep it.
idea.
And there's
That's a
lock,
great
and there's a
idea.
lock on it. Like.
I think that's a great idea.
It's just, exactly, this is it.
How will that work for you? No, I'm just curious, you know, I'm having you here as a resident.
container, that spot.
Yeah.
Can you say, can you say your location? So if it's Jones Room, you pay this much. If it's Heritage, you pay this much. If it's Complex, you pay this much.
Yes, that's a
So
bad.
you do
But
like
I
that.
think
North
it's
Hood,
standard,
maybe this
whatever everyone's holding, it also will look nicer, like you're able to label that, you're able to, yeah.
So I'm now playing devil's advocate. You have programs that use one day a week at Jones Room and one day a week at Heritage.
So are you guys moving those for them right now?
Well, we used to do it. We're asking the programs to do it.
They should do their own.
Yeah,
They should
so
have,
they're doing
they
it
could have
now.
storage at each location, I mean.
Or not, take it with them and then put it back.
Or pay $50.
The problem that we're having here is we don't really have a set space.
Thank you very
Not
much.
working. So with the problem with town hall not being renovated, we lost space. So right now, it's kind of hard to say how to do anything because today you may have programs scheduled, but then, oh no, we gotta do this meeting right now. So now they gotta move to another spot. So how do you go by that? I think when everything's completed and we have space now, then that's maybe we can start thinking, okay, well,
This
we
is
want
just
town.
a temporary measure.
It was that didn't work out, so maybe the recommendation that we could do is if we can hold off on this and Danny and I can audit a little bit more with
Okay.
with the storage. And then for 2027, you would revisit doing storage space because town halls, they're probably not gonna be open until
Completion.
fall of next year.
I guess if it's putting too much work on you, could you guys just, I mean, we just say the contract says space may be available upon request at rates designated price from time to time, and then you guys can set the
That's-
rates
That's
on
very good.
whatever it is, because again, you're saying like, well, sometimes I've gotta move, like that's a
Yeah,
different,
and that's the
it's a different thing from putting, and again, putting something that.
I'm storing 10 notebooks versus.
And I don't know if I wanna sit around the table and go through it all, but if you two can eyeball whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, during your audit, you can just also just be like, this is reasonable, this is not.
Yeah, I don't think we owe them some duty of fairness where everybody has to have this
So we'll
unit.
do a walkthrough. No, that's a great idea. If
It
we
is a
do a
great
walkthrough, we
idea.
can actually see what they're storing, so it's not
Yeah.
just learning stuff.
This way it could be, it's basically a pilot for a year and a half until town hall, because you also don't want it to be a free-for-all that all of a sudden people are like, I can buy all of these things and
Yes.
store them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Somebody's more new furniture will be in there.
And,
So
okay.
as you said, that's already been an issue in Sycamore instance.
So as far as the committee, are you okay if we remove the rate while we're
Yes.
doing this audit and then we can revisit this next year?
Mm-hmm.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed?
That's just at a rate designated by you guys, just arbitrary on there.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know that,
Yeah, based on.
Oh, so
Yeah.
these
Based on the
numbers.
quantity.
yeah,
Yeah.
moving forward.
This-
Oh,
Reasonable amount, I think. Come to a conclusion, type of thing.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so we motion second.
Yeah. Next one, the contractor will provide certification for athletic or artistic programs, including lifeguard, stage, sports certification, and or CPR certification to Corolla. The contractor will ensure that a certified staff member is present during relevant activities such as lessons, practices, clinics, and events. Additionally, Corolla may be required or require the contractor to provide an extra certified individual during major events or meets. I absolutely love that, and I don't want to touch that, because I think it's very important for that. Next one, requires that all athletic and artistic programs using its facilities submit background checks, certifications, and qualifications for coaches. So, example, USA Swimming, 15 days before the season starts. One or more certified coaches must be present during practices, games, and events, handling all communication and liability concerns while a program is on property. Additionally, all individuals managing, coaching, volunteering, or officiating must undergo mandatory level 2 background checks before the programs begin. Minors participating in the program who are not direct participants may also be subject to random drug tests. CRO will conduct random and unannounced audits of these background checks with non-compliance, potentially leading to termination of the usage agreement. CRO reserves the right to request updated background checks up to 3 times per year with 72-hour notices at the program's expense, while any additional checks beyond these will be at CRO's expenses. The contractor must also ensure a positive atmosphere for participants. Contractors require to have the minor's parents sign a waiver to participate in a volunteer paid or paid position. So we did level 2 background checks. These cost a lot of money. So we had the programs do this once every 2 to 3 years, because when we had them do it once a year, they actually couldn't afford to be here anymore. So that's why we put the 3 audits that we can technically reach out and say, if a parent said, hey, I'm a little bit concerned, we can reach out and say, you gotta submit an updated background check.
Is there a lower level one that would be able to be run annually, or we're at the point with?
We had to do a level 2.
Yeah.
We tried to do a lower level, but they said that it wasn't gonna cover certain things that we needed for minors.
How much is the background check anyway?
Level 2 for some of the programs was $250 to $300
Per?
per coach, yeah.
Gee, that sounds.
For like, so if you're working with children, there's a full.
Yeah, they.
And but obviously if they get a new coach, intermittent, they.
Yeah, they submit, but some of these programs have like
Same coaches
little
for
league,
years.
same coaches for years, but also have like 10 to 12 coaches, like flag football,
Right.
like soccer. I know you guys have a lot of coaches, so that's why that's why we added that last year, saying we can check up to 3 times a year if we had issues. So that way, if it was like 2 years ago and someone was starting to complain, hey, you gotta take a background check within 72 hours. The minors, that was more towards Little League. They used to have a lot of kids that were like volunteer coaches. And the previous committee was concerned that these kids were either saying inappropriate things or monitoring them because of like drug usage potentially or alcohol usage.
I was gonna say, we have a drug test.
We have not.
Okay.
We've
Fine,
had
get it in there, so far so good. Yeah.
surprisingly, only Little League was the only program we've been suspicious on, like 2 or 3 coaches where we did an audit where they were kind of being aggressive with kids or the way that they were acting. Actually, and then the last time was flag football. There was one coach when they had a flag football game that got too aggressive that we had to tell them that you can't do this here.
It just comes back down to like, you risk the entire program.
Yep.
Like, so select your coaches and your
Right.
volunteers selected.
Okay. So if anyone has like any objection, is there any issues with doing it once every 3 years, 2 to 3 years?
I'm fine.
Or is that an issue?
I think it's okay, I wouldn't necessarily advertise it, but.
Okay, yeah.
Obviously,
So
yeah.
that's why we didn't put it in
A
here.
little bit over their head is better than.
Alright, so we'll keep that the same. And then all managers, head coaches, assistant coaches, and volunteers who have direct contact with minors are required to view an online instructional video or attend a coaching training session approved by the program's manager or coach. Pro will provide the instructional video to ensure consistency. Okay, so this is something that we have not provided a video, because this is something that we would have to deal with, IT and like a how-to video. So I wanted to change this up and do maybe like an orientation twice a year. So it's kind of like, welcome to Parks and Rec here, and I would have like the events manager, the communications manager, the presentation of you're required to be here in order to be a partner program, so they can meet the other programs, clubs in town. And this is what you have to go through. We go through the whole contract. Here's communications team. This is how you submit your magazine deadlines, social media. And then here's the events team. This is what you can and can't do when you participate in the events. So,
Giving guidelines.
giving guidelines, yeah.
Here too.
But I just wanted to see if the committee was okay with that, or,
We'll probably have actual uptick also in like engagement and.
yeah. And I was trying to find a way to get the, like you said, engagement, like the other, programs to even know each other, because they're always like, who's this person? You know, like at least they can
Oh,
see a
sure.
face to a name.
And so we're gonna take out the instructional videos, or do we need to purchase one and have them watch it while they're in this orientation?
So I was gonna see instructional video for like their program. They have to provide their own
Oh,
video.
okay,
And then
that's
I was thinking that Crow, we would do an orientation twice a year. that they
Okay.
can attend.
I can go along with that.
Yeah, I mean, like how many people have to attend? One or two?
It has to be one representative per
One
organization.
Yeah.
So we just came back from an Experience Gethsemane seminar where we were required in order to get grant money to attend. So that's why I was like, that would be a great idea for this, is if they want a contract and they want to take things seriously. And also with a video, you can play it and hit mute and just let it roll and just say, I understand and watch this.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that they are more engaged and motivated to be part
And
of the
if you,
share.
and if you sponsor it, then you have a sign-in sheet, you have proof that they attended, and
Right.
I'm okay with that. What better words?
Alright, so Crow requires all programs on its property to have a safety plan to ensure a safe environment, for participants, volunteers, and spectators. Recreational equipment must meet the standards of its governing body, example, swimming. Land will be inspected regularly by the operation or organization safety officer or program manager / head coach. The contractor will sign off on an EAP as well as a safety plan as approved by Crow. Contractor must sign off on the safety plan at the beginning of each year. That's something I do want to keep, but I also want to make sure that we get it update for our programs, because the safety plan more or less is more of the rules and regulation of each facility. I want to ensure that there's a safety plan for like fire, lightning, like weather,
Oh, sure.
as well as like an active shooter. So that's something that I want to ensure this gets kept. So
Yes, no, I
that will be shared at the orientations moving forward.
Excuse me, ignorance, EAP,
Emergency action plan.
maybe just spell it out.
Okay, yeah, I put that in. So it's basically a safety plan. So when we have big programs, or not programs, events on property that come to the meeting.
Just awareness of how to deal with it.
Correct, so the Superhero 5K had to submit an emergency action plan. The Chocolate Adventure will need to submit an emergency action plan, so we know that they're prepared in case there's an emergency.
Okay, good.
Is there a digital, like what is our standard, is that like available?
Yeah.
Any of all of the, like how it's dispersed to coaches or?
Yeah, that's something I can share if you want.
You say the contractor must sign off, do you mean they Crow signs off, or the contractor?
So contractor, they just need to abide by the emergency action plan that we provide.
Oh, so you provide?
We're gonna provide it, so at least everyone knows what to do, like at Lakeside, if this were to happen, all the programs know. And the team will be trained, so it's like, okay, if there's a fire, we all know like what the plan is. If they have their own emergency action plans, we've done that in the past, they don't take it as seriously.
Yeah, there's something they're handed and have to, you're responsible for this.
It's usually like digital, like doing these for corporate, when I'm helping draft, it's, having it digitally, so you're knowing.
So they have it ready to go.
Yeah.
I got you.
By default, it's usually just call 911, but
Yeah,
like,
Yeah.
common sense, but.
of course, yeah. So the next one is pro policy update. So early registration and participant roster requirements. Early registration, basically residents get priority over non-residents, and a discounted rate will be provided to Celebration residents. I've had some groups or organizations say, I can't do an early registration. However, they ensure that there was a discounted rate for residents. Sometimes that discount's only $5, and it could be all the way up to $25 per discount for residents. And then roster submission at the beginning of each season or annually from the date of contract signing, a participant roster must be submitted. This roster should include its 55% residents, but that also includes K-8 school children and faculty members. That number was changed. Previously, I believe it was 50%, but we had concerns that we wanted to ensure it was more residents or non-residents, so it got changed to 55%.
Is that hard and fast, it has to be 55%?
That's something we can talk about as the committee.
Should implies that it doesn't have to be, shall
I
implies
think
that it
it
has to
should.
be.
Oh, shall apply.
Should or
Shall,
shall,
yeah,
is the
Make it
verbiage.
definite,
So if it is shall, it has to be, if it
or
should,
will
there
include.
I
will
got
be
it.
exceptions, that's why it's curious.
I'm sorry, I thought you were saying that. It
No.
should be changed to the.
I was asking if that 55 was
Okay, we'll make an exception because you're 48 or 40.
Oh, no, no, it's,
54.6.
no, it's,
Whatever.
that would be required.
That was my
Yeah.
question.
I think on this one, to me, the model should be higher than 55%, should be maybe 65, 75%. There should be, rather than discount for celebration residents, it's like a 50% penalty for non-residents, and then that 50% goes back to you all, like for your kid,
So
and
we
then it should
have,
be audited, so.
That would be, but the problem with that would, you don't have enough people inside the kids, that would, because that applies to all the groups, right?
yeah,
So Little League wouldn't have enough.
And we have people who come
If
in.
we didn't have enough, they would just pay more, right? So,
But you have enough to field teams, that's the issue.
Like, people come from Davenport, Champions,
Yeah.
they drive here for Little League. There's now gonna be a girl, girl that's coming up, like, there aren't enough. There
Yeah,
aren't.
like football, among those, they're nothing like it to 50%, I mean.
My feeling is leaving it 55%, they can be audited to see, and we can always change it in the future.
And like, if we're having the same conversation about tennis right now, we don't have enough. You don't have, exactly, you'd want, yeah, it's, but I get it, because when I look at, like, your soccer, it's like where people come, it's where people come in the area, like, this is where they're gonna have a good experience, like,
there's zone here.
yes. And they are zoned here, until it's this 34747 zip code is only, but these are the same kids who are playing sports in school, and it's like,
but
they're.
you get that, so that counts, right? If they're in the school, it counts.
Yeah.
It's a
It's
little,
still a
yeah.
resident, non-resident issue.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for the 55% is celebration residents or K children or faculty members, right? So that is a bigger bucket than residents alone. Yeah, maybe maybe higher is too much. I don't know, what are the programs at now?
Are you talking about the?
There's no faculty members.
Not like-
What percentage is Little League at and soccer at in terms of like?
So,
It's probably
right,
70%.
Little League and soccer are two biggest programs, and then flag football would be number 3. Little League now works with the K-8 school now, since we no longer partner with K-8 on the baseball fields. But as far as soccer and flag football, you guys heavily rely on the kids from the schools as well too.
But for residents, we have more than 75% for sure. So we follow the community and the price is really different.
Yeah,
actually,
Compared to
so-
residents.
That's where you
Unless
reach.
it's little kids, the smaller kids, there's a lot of those, so.
So would you rather see this go up to like 60%? Like, I
I
think
would be
we did
interested to
80
see where it is, and then again, I think the discount, right, like, I mean, if the subrate residents are getting a discount, it should almost be like not a penalty, but it's a higher rate, and then that rate should come back to us.
What is your concern if residents are getting priority for getting into it as well? Is it that it gets too large?
I think then you get into situations like with this Star Island situation where you have non-residents coming in here using the courts. You have a third party making money off of, I think if I'm right, it's like someone providing lessons to hotel guests off of courts and residents aren't there. And then all that money goes in the third party partners' pockets. Right? It doesn't make any sense. So, like, what are we doing? Like, why are we? So there was, I guess if we had unlimited space, yes.
And it's got too big for the 5
Everything
court.
else seems to be pretty much within that threshold.
That's what I'm saying.
If the concern boils, like the root.
I guess the other cause would be, I mean, the other argument, I'm not necessarily going to die on this hill, right? Because I'm generally more about everything. But, you know, if you have, say, 45% of non-residents using a field, causing wear and tear on that maintenance, that's really, we're not getting anything from that. We have, you know, 45% of that wear and tear is coming from people who are not here.
So what if we included a caveat that making up a number, 10% of dues come to Parks and Rec for wear and tear?
From
It's-
outside residents.
Outside, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's
so-
exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, you know, if you are, you know, it's great that Celebration residents are getting a discount, but it's sort of like that gap between what these people are paying, those people paying. Should that go to the third party provider, or should that go back to the town to make up for the fact that the wear and tear and all that, and the usage is coming from people outside of town?
And so could you increase the difference between the discount and the resident and non-resident? That would be, I think that would achieve.
But that only applies if you're a group that's, let's say I brought my football team, they wanted to practice one day in celebration. That's where the rate makes a difference and the amount of people. Then you get the wear and tear, but if let's say football, let's say they end up being, they're not, but let's say they have 45% celebration residents. If we come to that threshold, then they'll just leave. And now you don't get any of that revenue.
So what if we put in the 10% of our registration fee is for the outside
People only comes to
back to
celebration,
For
whether it's
maintenance.
Parks and Rec maintenance.
You're a resident and you put on your flyer, okay, it's $150 a place, on flag football, for
or
instance.
just resident rate, non-resident rate.
Yeah.
Inside that non-resident rate is an
And
allocated
it comes back to
percentage.
Yeah,
maintenance.
but then if you give scholarships, I know what you're saying, I get it, there's a lot of variables there.
After the pandemic, we should increase our fees. In my suggestion, fee increase and not talking about 5-10%, we're talking about 25%.
That would be the
See, not talking about soccer, it's not talking as a program or whatever, just talking as a resident. Our facility is amazing, and we spend a lot of money and time, and people time over that. So it should increase, because this price was good before the pandemic. After that, everything is very expensive, including the time of the people they stay there, sometimes over time, sometimes in much more than they need to do. So my recommendation suggests if you need to vote for the time, increase 20% at least. For non-residents.
And they're all doing it, they increase their rates,
For non-residents.
everybody's doing it, your sports leagues, they've done it.
It's fair, because it's not just community upholding and non-residents benefiting.
So as far as
Yeah.
like
We've talked about rates generally, like all of our rates, we like,
Yeah,
beyond
they
everything needs
increase.
to be, everything, because maintenance has gone up in general, and now we have this. Like this is all different.
And I can tell you, like,
This kind of
my
platform.
insurance, just for the local, they're going to 20%.
Yeah.
And
And that's what our goal is to not do is, I don't want every year for these rates to go up more. I would love for these programs and rentals to offset that cost, so you don't have to stress out about that. Previously, these programs would do whatever they receive that month, 20% CROA used to receive. Problem is, you would have to do audits, it got very sticky because, like Mike said, some people have scholarships, they couldn't afford this, or they got, sibling discounts. So these partners, these programs switched to a flat rate. So, the previous committee, you had to give at least $208 a month in order to be considered a recreational partner program. If you want to stick with the 20%, you would have to show your financial statements, but a lot of them are not comfortable doing it. So that's why, like Marco's group, Cyclones, as well as tennis, we went off of how much does the operating, the expenses cost for each of those locations. And they paid, I believe it was 9% of the cost of that one location. So when folks were upset with tennis saying they're not paying for the maintenance, actually that percentage was going towards the operating costs. So that's something that we could do, review each location. And like his program, his rates increase, and we can just do increasements of that. Just my concern is if we did like the 10% of the non-residents, do we just do that every month on top of their monthly rates?
I think it would be easier to administer if we were to just increase.
Yeah. just
Okay.
run down it.
I think we just also, I mean,
I'm
how
just
many
saying, you're
times a
already,
resident goes up and down a soccer field versus a non-resident, like,
Yeah.
it would just be easier to probably.
I would say the last like 2 or 3 years, like that, the amount of people that would come from outside in these facilities, like I did football for many years, they would bring not us, but they would bring teams that come from everywhere, baseball teams that were playing a tournament over here at ESPN, they'd come here and practice. So they'd be all over the place. I have not seen any of that. I mean, it's a lot less than it used to be, so it's not so much, what about that, I mean, anybody who's having wear and tear, they're paying something to us,
Okay.
you know, some kind of, you know.
And
My suggestion was based more about people coming to rent the facility to make parties, food.
Exactly.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah, no, that's,
That's more so.
yeah,
That's,
Some part
I'm
of
sure
it's
they work that
like Arthur Gym, they don't have space to do, he does have space, but not as nice as he has in the past because of the 851 building. It's coming back.
Yeah.
But some of the partner programs are good, so it's more about non-residents.
It also might help determine as we're getting to a point of where isn't enough space for every single partner program, which I think we've talked about
Yes.
before.
Yep.
Are you really a partner program? Do you still get this certain time? Do you get this space? I think that's up for discussion as well.
I agree with that.
Because there's not, I mean, I know I'm in this room tonight and tomorrow night, there's not that many
Yes.
spaces right now to have.
and even this
Yeah.
space is very heavily
Yeah.
utilized.
And so it's probably putting us on a path of having those harder conversations, which I know coming out of COVID, people, like you want to give them the opportunity to regrow, and some are probably thriving and
Yeah,
others are might not be.
I think we'll be in a better situation once town hall reopens, because you're gonna have dedicated meeting space. Cause now that we have so many committees, board meetings, a lot of, like, Marco said, a lot of programs are gonna cancel, so you're not getting that flat rate that we're expecting per month.
Yeah.
Because we have to cancel because these meetings take priority over the programs, so.
We also have the new construction lot B. Construction lot B, put more money from coming to Park and Rec as well. Creating new program, like water program that we have Mike, and use the course over there. We can use it for futsal, or pickleball, tennis, basketball.
I don't recall either, what about phase 2B? We're gonna.
It's just beside the dog park,
You're talking
lot B.
no,
Nothing
it's,
over there.
yeah, he's referring to the.
Oh, I know, but I was thinking for the future.
Not I'm aware. Grass for tennis courts and.
Yeah, I know
There's
that,
not enough space, I believe, over there.
yeah, too many animals.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so what I put as a note, for September, I'm gonna bring the facility application back up for you all to review the rates. Because it seems like we wanna target that more towards facility rentals and the non-residents that utilize. Danny, I'm gonna put you on the spot, but the non-resident rentals have decreased, is that accurate?
Oh, no, it has. Yeah, well, and also, again, it's the location varies too, because, yes, we raised the price, less non-residents, but it wasn't just because of the price, it's because of the fact that, I didn't have the space. But when they did call and they were like, they called me and I don't have the space, I give them other numbers here around the celebration, they always come back. So we're still kind of cheaper, but as far as,
Raise the price?
but Heritage is like, yeah, we can't rent this for them, but Heritage is like the highest we have besides this for non-residents. But they're still, I still get the non-residents.
I said, then charge them more. You can always use more money.
I also don't think it, I mean, I know what I paid to rent Heritage for Doug's birthday, and I thought it was a good price for everything that I had, and that includes your tables and everything.
Exactly right.
There's a lot that went in there that I didn't have to think of, that if I had not been here, I would have had to think
Well,
of.
is it
Heritage
comparable
Hall?
to outside?
Heritage Hall is not cheap, it's expensive to rent over there, but
Well,
the only thing that
Ignorance, what's
but we
considered
have
expensive?
we have nothing around like Heritage Hall, we only have like Reunion, the big meeting room over there, the party room, whatever they call there, close to what we have here in Heritage Hall.
Well, what's considered expensive? Because I know I've rented places before for a VW room, it cost me $8,000.
It's $100 an hour, and that include, I could, as I had all my vendors, that they all were the preferred vendors. I had the space right by Heritage Hall to.
But you
I'm a resident, but $100 an hour, I would have paid more to have had.
That's what I'm saying.
I would have
You
paid
can charge
Yes,
more.
even if it was $50 more an hour, I would have paid that. It was, and yes, you'll catch people who wanna like, oh, this party starts at, 10, and I want to start at 10. And, your average person, we can work with, but I think, once again, I know that that's a significant increase. Yeah.
Sorry, you go.
I think just for the space, and that came with all the tables were set up. You guys worked with me on how those would be set up.
Highly reasonable.
Yeah, the restrooms are clean, everything, and we arrived, it was all clean, like, it wasn't difficult to have the bounce house right in the little lawn space, it just, anywhere else, if I wanted to rent out a restaurant, it would have been so
Okay,
much
you have
more.
to use
That's
that.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the main thing. is-
How is that comparable to places that are outside?
So we did this research and previously Heritage Hall for residents was only $50 an hour. And then for non-residents, it was 75. And we looked at over 20 different places and everywhere else was charging between $100 to $200 an hour. So that's why we jumped. We only jumped $50, and non-residents are $200 an hour. So we can easily
I
bump
think it
that
should
up.
be more.
I live near there, and I know that there have been a few weddings over
Yeah.
the last few years.
I mean, just let's say $1,000 to rent someone place for 4 hours, it's ridiculously inexpensive. Ridiculously inexpensive. Other places are easily 3 times that amount.
Yeah.
And you don't get the same quality of
So
service.
my only
So-
concern is if we keep increasing it, I just want to ensure these buildings are still maintained properly.
Okay, so we could also have a cost, as we do now, non-resident, raise that non-resident cost, and only a little tiny increase
For the
for the
Of
resident.
course,
You could also offset it after a certain number of hours, the price goes down. So like,
Yeah.
so 200 an hour for 4 hours, and after 4 hours, it's 100 for every hour.
No, absolutely, yeah.
So you could offset it for a longer term.
You guys
But
don't
only
need
for
to
residents, I don't agree with downsizing the cost for a non-resident.
Yeah, 100%.
You guys must know like what the premium weekends are, or when people want the space. I mean,
Yes, I know summer, well, for summer, Heritage is down because of camp and a lot of people are traveling. So we only have an average of like 4 rentals. But you're looking at the hot times are October through December, and then you're looking at March through May because of the graduations and yes.
we're very fortunate to have a space like that, so. And I assume, will summer breakout eventually go to town hall, if when it's,
So we only have it at Heritage because it needs to be by a pool and a playground. Yeah, we were thinking once at Town Hall, but there was just no playground close by or whatnot, so. But something else I want to revisit, I know it's not in here, but in September is potentially allowing, do we allow like, large organizations like, the Experience Kissimmee bringing in like these, like events per se, like, don't kill me, Marco, but like tournaments. I'm not trying to say the complex, but like if we did like more tournaments, cause you can get easily $10,000 for one weekend for these big groups to come in. I know previously somebody wanted to rent the tennis courts for an event, for a sporting event, and they were willing to give us $5,000 a day for 4 hours. So that's just something I wanted to see if the committee's interested in hearing. Because each of those large tournaments or events I can bring to the committee's level. Right now, we just have it closed off. So that's also another way that we can find some kind of revenue, and you put in the agreement that if there's anywhere there, they would obviously have to pay for the cover of the expenses.
I think that would depend on the event and where they want, and what space they want to use.
Or could we kind of direct to time periods where maybe, it wouldn't be as utilized? Like,
Yeah, we
like,
Yeah,
if we
let's
get it,
absolutely-
like, we already know it's gonna be probably, we can take a chance that it's probably gonna be empty or not used and direct.
Potentially maybe like
Yeah.
4 times a year, like August, we know is empty, August, September, maybe January, and February, like, you know.
Or as an
these type
example,
of
the
times.
tennis courts, as long as you say, hey, listen to this club people, you're shut out for a weekend.
The problem to close or shut off for a weekend and hurting partner programs or residents is if they damage the nets, the fuse, they're gonna take like 1 month, 2 months to fix that and then hurt the whole community.
That's true too.
For this, we shut off, we close, we had in the past a very bad moves over there. We help a lot to handle the situation in a very good way, but they destroy the restrooms, they destroy
Yeah,
that.
they're all
It doesn't
comes
matter
into effect.
to be there. I've done even so many events at like the high school, like Pop Warner, big,
Yeah,
and they 90% of the time it's not worth the time.
okay, well,
That's a good
that's
point.
something.
Yeah, you try to use the positive, like, all right, you know.
But the rules are put into play now, and unfortunately, in this day and age, a lot of violence is considered from an outside.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's more, it's
we've
more.
had events in New York on the beach.
Oh,
And
yeah.
people have been shot because
Yeah,
this is
that's
just,
gonna work too.
this is just their way of life. There's, you know, somebody says something, boom, okay, boom. Now you somebody shot in an event on a public beach.
You can get away with it like baseball, like Northfield runs a lot of those things,
Yeah.
whenever they do something, but they have turf fields also.
Right.
You know, like football, whatever, you know, just like the general fields like we have, but if you have grass fields, he's right, you,
Yeah.
one bad day, it's months out and then there's part of it.
How many people, like, just maybe it's seeing if we do get these requests that come in and understanding what they are and what the group looks like. And if they've been successful elsewhere, these are things you can do reference checks on of, tell me where else you hosted your tournament and,
Not like hi, boys and girls
Yes.
clubs coming in for the
Mhm.
weekend.
Yeah.
It's mostly with Experience Kissimmee, we used to
Okay.
partner with them on that, where it was basically overflow, like Champions Gate, or like the fields on 1 or 27th.
Yeah.
So that's just something I just wanted to bring up too, if is it not. Okay, so I put that for September, so I'll share that application with you all, so, in September, we'll review those rates. Basically, the next one was all organization fees must be submitted to CROA within 15 days of the start of the season. Basically, so in case anyone calls us, we can help assist with the answers of, oh, it costs this much, or here's your discount per resident. CROA reserves the right to request all records related to classes or lessons conducted on the property at all times. Contractors are required to provide these records upon request within 2 days. However, this request excludes records containing minors' information such as names, date of birth, addresses, voting information, or personal finance details. So this was included in here because we do get a lot of records requests where they're like, I would like to see an audit of the current schedule, or I would like to see the roster to determine the residents versus non-residents. So that's why we put in here that we can request and they have to give it to us within 2 business days. We removed the minor information because we actually had 2 residents specifically with tennis where it said the minor's name and the days of their classes, where they would go out there and start yelling random names until the kid looked over. So that's why all that information is completely removed.
Yeah.
So all you will see with a roster is, if you ever saw one, it'd be for, it would say, John or Jane Doe, resident, like Nick Patton,
And it's
not
not
a
verified.
resident. You know what I mean, like that's all it says, we don't give away any date of birth or
That's
addresses
good.
anymore. Then contractors provide by the rules and regulation of the concession stand and weather policy included in this agreement. As far as concession stand, we barely ever had anyone reach out to do a concession stand, but we just ask for no, it has to be pre-cooked food. So they can't be making food that will cause anyone to be sick. And then we require, general liability insurance of $1 million. And then with CROAs or the entities of celebration and the certificate holder. And then Exhibit C would include the location and time as well as the rates. And then partner programs, given option of a flat rate, CROA creates from their 2023 rates, or they provide their tax statements to do monthly flat rates. Because this was based off last year, what we did for this year. So basically, if they did 20% of their revenue, we found a way to average that number out, and we did it to increase, I believe it was 9%, and that was their flat rate per month. Now, we've had some programs say this is actually really great, and it works out well to do flat rates. Other programs that said this is a little bit too much for me. And I think Aqua Yoga was actually one of them. So for Aqua Yoga right now, she's doing 20% per month. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is what like a contract will have, so just in case anyone has any questions, this is actually the general information of the contract. The next one is a club. Basically, it's identical from a rec program. The only difference is for clubs, if they require a registration fee, after 2 months, or, sorry, it's a little night. They get 2 free hours a month per club, but any additional usage fee after those 2 free hours, they have to pay that facility agreement rate. If they do not require registration fee and it's free for residents, they can have 2 free hours a month, and then they can submit a request within 2 weeks to receive additional usage. We want to make sure that if there's any clubs that it's doing free complimentary gatherings, we want to make sure we support them, but we did the max of 2-week notice, so that way if somebody wants to rent it, we actually can make some kind of revenue.
Can I ask a question? Are any clubs actually using storage?
Yes, you have Garden Club that uses, I want to say, 70% of their storage space at Heritage Hall. That has not submitted any payments for that, because it was a little bit of an issue. And then you also have the celebrators do it as well.
Well, then what are we doing about the garden club then? Are we
So-
telling them they have to remove their items?
So what we would say is,
Let's do and in the future.
so what we've told them is, hey, for camp, we need all of this storage, you gotta get it out. And they, like, every time we tell them to move it, in the meantime, they actually get up and move it. So that's why we're kind of in this pickle of, well, what kind of space is this? Do I get only 5 cabinets? Do I get 10?
This is a
So-
club, not partners. And maybe I'm getting too.
No, yeah, so it is a
Yeah.
clubs, again, they don't pay, they get 2 free hours a month, and a lot of our clubs actually abide by that. But you have that pyramid of CROA, committee meetings take first priority, then it's recreational programs, then you got the civic groups, which is basically the 2 nonprofits, it's the Foundation and Embrace, and then you have clubs. So they're the 4th priority.
But if they're getting a space for free, there's no reason why we should not be able to charge them for utilization of storage.
How big
Was
is
they
this?
storing the garden equipment?
They're storing, it's basically more of like coffee stuff, it's like small like coffee container, it's not.
Okay, so it's not like
it's not
everybody's just
making
like,
us,
everyone has their own shed here?
They have, no, they have a little spread everything.
Behind us, in a way, like the kitchen.
Yeah.
that's
So it's something
exactly-
small, it's something small.
It's something small.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it's
Yeah, I went to thinking it was on.
like a $30 fee,
Yeah,
is not so much
yeah.
to ask to store some stuff, $30, $40.
So is that something that we can go back and say, like, management can kind of give recommendations on like a flat rate for like the
Yeah.
whole year? Is that something?
I think that would be fair, if they
Okay.
utilize the space.
If you can, if they're using space and it's taking up your time, then yeah, if it's not, if you can, it's not a big deal. I think again, whatever your discretion is, it sounds to me. But if you guys are like that one part where you guys are hauling stuff back and forth with them constantly, that seems like it's just.
Yeah.
How many hours a year do you work for them?
There's your fee.
Yeah.
There's your fee.
It's gotten a lot better, I will say. Danny and I used to have to do a lot of things for these programs in clubs, but it's starting to become at the point of, once you say it's $50 an hour for us to move stuff, people back off immediately.
Yeah.
Well, it's because we start talking about stuff like this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
When we start talking, oh, we might be doing this, and, oh, well, it's really.
Oh, we can take care of it, it's okay. Somebody will store it in the garage and take it with the membership,
Yeah,
it's
right.
fine.
But that was the only difference that has, is they get 2 free hours a month as a club. But if they pay afterwards, they pay their facility.
So if they're getting things for free as a club, do we think 55% is reasonable?
I think it should be increased for clubs, to be honest.
If it's club and they're getting,
That part there, I agree with. If it's free, absolutely.
Because then they're using our spaces. If they're
Paying for
I get the argument for that.
Of course, yeah.
That should be all residents, you know.
Yes, I think you're looking at least 75%, but I'd also say how are non-residents even finding out about a
Well,
club?
there's the, I don't know, we have the.
Well, it hasn't been up by gone to, or attended, it has been mostly celebration fee.
Yeah, that I've seen too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over there visiting,
This fell more towards our support groups. So support groups was like AA, overeat and non-alcoholic.
Yeah, we had that discussion last year too.
Correct, and they fell underneath the club because we didn't want to
I think
put
we're
them.
making it 55% then, probably, right? I mean,
So 55, yes, but when we used to have food truck Fridays at the complex, because that's where they reside, we actually had a lot of people that were like, I'm staying over at Disney property, and this was the closest support group, you know what I mean?
that's what I'm
So,
thinking, it's, I understand what that is.
Yeah,
I
we had
would
a big discussion last year about this.
increase, I agree though, increase it. I don't think 75% is awful. I actually agree with that. It's like you guys said, we're not getting any kind of revenue from this.
That's gonna be someone, if they're staying over at Disney, they're coming once, they're
Yeah.
gonna average out in the year.
Yeah, just do like a running average or something.
Yeah, it's not,
Or
Yeah.
an increased number, just continuing 75% argument.
Didn't we discuss asking the library to participate in this, and they were just, it wasn't gonna work out?
I don't know what's happening with the library, but every time I try to move someone, they say, oh, I tried the library, we can't. So I think a lot of people are like, oh, they must have like did something, or the library just, I don't have space anymore.
Because it's
Make
county,
contest. Yeah,
facility.
so who knows, but.
Which is sad, because you would think the county would want to sponsor something like this, especially like AA.
Those were like the major changes. So in the upcoming months, it's normally in October that we're gonna be reviewing contract renewals for the following year. Some contracts had a 3-year extension, 5 years, so you may not see certain ones, that's the reason why. But just in case if people ask, like, what do they follow? This is basically the scope of work that's on every contract except Exhibit C where it's more detailed. So I know it says swim lane with tennis. Okay, well, tennis, you only have up to 3 courts for this. I did reach out to Darren. He's gonna let me know if September or October works better for him, because I would like him to present in front of you all.
Okay.
Especially if people are expressing concerns about his program, I want him to be able to vouch for himself as well. Just know that our town is growing. Our facilities feel like they're getting smaller. If programs feel like they're outgrown, maybe it's time to either depart ways, but there's some programs that are being created like him that are moving over to the high school as well, so they can free up space for residents.
Can we cover a couple of things in the contracts?
Yeah, absolutely.
In section 5, indemnity.
So we're now on a thriving place contract. This is, yeah.
Is that right? Oh, yeah. So for C, I would think that we would probably, you want to be indemnified for anything arising out of, against the activity or the services. I don't know what this term is, but right here, like, I think it said they were indemnified for their breaches, acts or omissions. But like if a kid just falls and breaks their leg, you're not really covered for that unless you're saying it's an act or omission.
this is the working out, this is the woman who prevented last meeting, right?
No.
So, this is with the Celebration Foundation. So that page itself, like the first 5 pages of this contract, that's actually the attorneys. That's something I can't even touch. That's more of a.
How do we tell them though that the contract maybe needs to be?
So what we could do is as a committee, if there's something like legal in here that's causing issues, please send me notes so I can send it to Lauren so she can review it.
Yeah.
Are you saying like, if let's say you're playing a baseball game, the kid falls and breaks his leg, not covered here, so, but.
Yeah, I don't think you're covered.
Don't we all have waivers?
Karen, would maybe cover it.
No,
They have liability insurance.
Yeah.
They have to provide for,
If playing soccer, your kids fell and break the legs, you have a waiver, the insurance doesn't cover.
Yeah.
The insurance helps with a $5,000 or $10,000 if it's something really
Yeah.
bad. But if a goal turns
Yes.
off the kid, the insurance cover everything.
Yeah.
Or if the kid just drag out of the goals or burn the field or whatever, the insurance cover it.
Yeah.
The thing that I would, so the thing we want to tweak is this, because otherwise you're arguing, did the goal fall on the kid or did the kid just break his leg? I would think our contract would say, no matter what happens, if you drag us into a third-party lawsuit, you're responsible for indemnifying us, regardless of whether it's not your act or it's negligence or whatever it is, not our problem.
Yeah, that'd be hard because you're on that property. It's like you have insurance for your house and somebody
Yeah.
falls in home, and they can still sue you. And you still have to pay lawyers, so it's like almost like,
Right, but once they sue you, then you tender a claim to their insurance department to them and say, you agreed to indemnify us for these actions. We're not saying that now. We're saying you're indemnifying it if it's your fault, right? But not that it happened at the event, right? So you could say, hey, you're indemnifying us for everything that happened out of the event. But we're saying, you're indemnifying us for your actions, your inactions, or your breaches of contract.
Perhaps we can
That's
make a note to Lauren and ask her, are we covered for this situation?
It's,
I mean, I had that accident, like where kids get hurt, like for football.
Yeah.
You know, they get hurt and then parents try. Ultimately, it comes down to whatever the insurance company decides to do.
Exactly.
So the only way you can get that would be to make sure that their insurance has that caveat.
But and generally, the issue would be, would our insurance be in trouble, or would would the partner program be in trouble? And then I mean,
Right, so let's say you get in the middle of a field, which makes no sense, and your kid's playing, then you can say, well, look, you should have done that. Now, if the goal's not, it should be, and they get hurt, then it's.
yeah, but it's procedural, right? It's like, when our insurance company talks to their insurance company, do they just tender a claim, or is there some argument about whether or not this claim is covered under the contract?
But it's.
I think that's something
if
the
your
lawyers
kids-
need to.
Yeah, I would say the
Legally, does
lawyer
not-
should.
having worked with lawyers
For 35 years, let me tell you, every time I read a legal document, I have questions, like, is
Yeah.
this what we really mean? Because legally it's
I think it's,
confusing.
it's also gonna be
If we
close.
get an assurance from the attorney that yes, this is what it covers and this is what we're responsible for or not responsible for,
Yeah.
As a
it should be satisfied.
That's correct. But at a sports standpoint, if your kid get hurt playing soccer, he took the risk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He sent a waiver, he took the risk because
Right.
it's a contact sport. But if any parent step on the field and kick your kid and hurt, then it's our problem.
Yeah.
If the goals fell down, it's our problem.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just procedurally, if you get if the third, I think it would only be respect to third-party claims, but if the partner program gets us involved in a lawsuit under the contract, they only have to step up if it's due to their fault, or they have to step up no matter what. And I would think and maybe the attorney has a good reason, the form should say, it's not part of the program. If you're dragging us into a third-party claim,
They can provide a letter of clarifications to ensure that we
Yeah.
are covered.
Was that the only item that anyone had any issues, because attorney fees cost a lot, so I would rather just have this in bulk?
the other, so the other thing I had about the contract was, it needs, hopefully, this shouldn't be more than 5 minutes, they charge more than 5 minutes.
All the time.
They charge for hours.
Attorney, so I would have put some, but like, they could bill you for 6 points,
Yeah.
they can bill you for 10 minutes.
I have filled out bills for 3.25 minutes
Yeah, I live my
And,
life,
on a time.
explaining to the time. They could, then the other question is termination, we can only terminate on 30 days notice. I would think we could, if we have reason for material breach, we should be able to terminate immediately. Those were my 2 notes. And I understand that we're not, I thought we were.
It's not half bad.
So,
Depending on the-
let's say a group messes up, then say, hey, you're not, doesn't matter.
How severe it
We're
is.
not giving you a 30-day notice and you're gonna hear it, the material, it's like, it's,
If it's severe enough, it should be immediate termination.
I believe we have something in the partner programs contract that says we can suspend your program till we have an issue.
Yeah, and maybe that's, but I did see here, it says owner and sole discretion may upon, have the right to suspend or terminate upon 30 days prior notice. I would think if in the event of breach or material safety or something, we could say something.
Yes, enough to get it.
It's just hit the road now.
I'll put
If
that.
my guess is like, people probably aren't negotiating this.
Are you suggesting to put it in?
No.
Yeah,
That's why I would rather-
It's not a problem, it's a problem, and then it's like, you know, damn, why do we have it in there already, you know, I know what you mean.
Okay.
Other was about.
Okay.
That's what we.
So those are all the action discussion items I actually had. Was there anything else like the committee wanted to bring up? Because again, I just wanted to review that, it's gonna be discussed in the upcoming months, that you all will review the contracts that are being approved for next year. So we can head into committee member comments.
My only suggestion is, maybe not for next month, but before the end of the year, I would really like to visit the registration of parties. So that we can, we don't have to charge anybody anything, just to know what's going on, and if something happens, who to hold responsible.
Okay.
What are we defining, or should probably be in that
Yeah.
conversation?
Well, it's already in the, some language is already in the welcome package. I think we just need to build on that. You know, over 5, under 5, over 20, over 100, you know.
Yeah, so just
Yeah,
figuring
no,
out.
there needs to be more definitions, yes. This is, in my opinion, directly coming out of the Lakeside issue with people just showing up parties and few, lack of better language, there's crap left all over and y'all are spending time cleaning it up, or what's damaged, or who pees in the pool and.
And sometimes the policy didn't cover the cost.
Yes, exactly.
Or even to making the community aware. There's 25 people out on the pool deck, they're having a birthday party. Yes, it's been registered, we're aware of it, thank you.
The playground, what's the next step on Lakeside?
That is actually going to the impact meeting. There's one tonight, so I think that's actually.
Okay.
Marco, you're part of that committee as well. Are they discussing the playground tonight as we speak? For Lakeside?
Tonight probably, yes.
Yeah, okay.
For the master plan we're talking about, right?
Yeah, no, sorry.
Yeah, I step back, I was actually stuck, making a slow down a little bit.
Okay, no, you're good. So I can follow up after their meeting tonight with Lauren and
I know
get you guys
that
posted.
Katie probably knows better about that.
Okay. Yeah, I know Lauren was at that meeting, so I'll ask her.
Lauren is better.
Perfect.
Okay, so we're all good now?
Is there a way to get a lot, before we jump right into Tennessee, that seems to be the
Yes.
very hot spot. Is there a way to get a lot of information? I know I would love as much information to be, I know it's a very passionate topic, so just as much information from Darren, but also like understanding the schedule, what we're seeing, we're hearing from residents, multiple issues. I know that when tennis was originally, it was like, oh, there's only one person, maybe one person in by that's complaining and, but now we have multiple, so it's,
Yeah, the issue
Well,
is,
it's tennis company.
yeah.
the issue is only certain times that they can play. It's the mornings for 3 hours and at night, so to them, it's always busy. It's not, I mean, most
Yeah,
of the day.
I
it's
myself,
live.
I have sat down there on
It's
several
funny.
occasions, documenting.
I just want, I mean, why don't you say it, you know, it's a convenient time.
It's also the rest of the community that is entitled to use it as well. And tennis doesn't always feel that way.
Correct, because I get, I mean, if they have their group and I go out there, I can't leave either, so it's.
Yeah.
Just as much information.
Yeah, I would.
I might have
It's
more
not so much there.
questions.
It's-
Okay.
it's a little-
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll provide more of that history.
I think it'd be great to get, yeah, it'd be great to get his contracts,
Mhm.
the audit of who his members are, or whatever, like how many of them are, I guess now they're Star Island, but how many are residents, how many are non-residents? And then maybe what his fee schedules are, and perhaps we can look at it.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then what he's, I guess, what's in the contract and what he's actually paid to us.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's something like that.
That would just be,
Get the scheduling. Because yeah, I guess it is.
It's good to administrate.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, you said roster of participants or coaches that are residents versus non-residents?
I'd like to know how many people in his program are residents, like especially, you know.
He's been here also for like
Yeah, he's
years,
been-
years, like, okay, so we did the Star Island thing was a newer development that seemed to go sideways.
Yep.
Beyond that, and assuming he's the preferred vendor in Celebration, because I assume if we were to make any changes, we're probably gonna be hearing from the students and
Correct.
students'
Yep,
parents. So I just wanna be as prepared as possible to understand where the questions could come from. Because it is also a convenience factor of that it's here, and I know USTA is, or I know.
Yep.
But,
It's a good program.
Yeah.
It's a good, it's, like I said, it's good, you know,
Yes.
because it's not just that one side.
yeah, because also it is, okay, what if we do look at shifting up the time, you know, and how busy is he, or does he have a wait list? That type of information would be helpful to know, okay, well, actually, if we gave him X amount, much more time, he'd have an influx, and we'd have an influx, or actually, these days are not, we can't have him we can't have any lessons on these days because residents can't join.
Right, so with Darren, and some of our like hot topic contractors, if there was ever concern that the residents expressed, we started doing RFP, a request for proposal, which we actually found out that the board has to provide that to the committee, we're not allowed to do it on our own. So the last RFP we did, we kind of got our wrist slapped because we're not supposed to be doing RFPs. But every single time he would bid, we would offer different levels. There was, the last bid that we had is we did I-9 Sports, and they only do it on the weekends. There was never weekdays, so that offered more for residents to use the courts. But we had a lot of residents come in stating they want to be able to have lessons throughout the week. The weekends, they're more either busy or they're playing another sport. So we've tried our best to do, here's someone that could take up majority of the courts, here's someone that won't take up any courts. You will definitely get parents. We've had a discussion with the committee on what if we just get rid of partner programs altogether and see what happens. And then it would be the Wild Wild West here. You'd have gym instructors come in, someone get hurt, more of a liability concern on us. But at least when you have partner programs, we ensure that we have the appropriate information from them.
That's a good point, yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
And there's always gonna be conflict.
Yep.
There's always gonna be conflict.
But I'll be happy to get the history of tennis, and I'll have Darren have like a presentation to provide you all, so you know the history too.
Because the tennis courts are busy, right? I mean, they're always, when it's not super.
It's busy during prime time hours, yeah.
prime time.
Middle of the day, no one's there.
That's it, 6 to like 5 to like 8, that's what it's like.
Yep.
And then
7
8
to,
or 7 right now, that's like 10 o'clock, that's it. And there's only so much. That's a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
But really, it's only busy at night time during the school year, it's not during the morning, you know, so it's.
I will say
It's
the
kind of hard to
court's
find.
been there for how long? So I know that and everyone should be respectful of time, that the courts have been there.
Mhm.
It's not like this is a brand new,
No,
Yeah.
yeah,
so,
but
Oh, you're
unfortunately,
saying.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and unfortunately, like 7 AM is the only time you can play. I haven't played in a couple of years, so that's, you know, you're waiting for it.
or before work. You know what's wild though, like, we had issues with tennis, but not this extreme. Before COVID, nothing. After COVID, everybody got outside more and tennis became popular. And then football started later. So it's wild how things have changed in this town. So that's why people have more of that passion, because they want those courts. Something that we could definitely review in the future that was brought up is like a reservation system. What we did that during COVID where we only allowed like 2 or 3 people in the gym at all times to separate them. So there is potentially a way we can review that without charging a resident. But then you have the liability of like a resident showing up and someone else having the court, who are they gonna call? You know what I mean? Because if it's 7 AM, we have one team member, but it's not strictly supposed to be at Lakeside the whole time. You know,
Or non-residents being there.
Or non-residents.
They book 4 times.
It's, yeah.
My friend book, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I'm gonna be there at 10 o'clock, that
Yeah.
would be very tough.
I really think the fence would just resolve everything.
Yeah.
That's exactly
But I
right.
know, but I know, and I know it's a costly, but if it continues to be such a hot topic, we should be
It will
thinking,
have to be addressed.
it'll have to be that, okay, so we know that we have to spend X amount of money eventually to have a fence, have it, and have a true reservation system. So that's where the club, like, you're going through, we're allocating certain funds, or there has, in order for it to work for everyone, there has to be incremental change.
Absolutely, yeah.
For $80,000, that's a fence though, at that point, is it easier to just build more courts?
Just weird.
I mean, if they funded.
But I mean,
That's
start
what
with-
Everyone,
Yeah.
we live in a swamp.
I can't even get more concrete out here, there's chairs on that side.
Well, they do, the committee apparently has approved the ID on your phone.
Yeah, I know.
Yes,
And
yes.
So it's $10, and even with that, even.
Which I'm going down tomorrow, getting mine very.
Give you my phone, which is better than ID, so I can give you my phone, but I'll give you my ID, and it's given for somebody else.
Well, both can work parallel, that's, you know.
I mean, I always bring my ID and my phone everywhere.
People will book, and I'll bet too, how often do you like, 24 hours in advance, you can't do it.
Yeah, maybe it's a couple bucks, you do a couple bucks or something.
Yeah, then people will, they're paying about $10 for the whole lot.
And then we'll pull a Disney and say, well, you can have a lightning lane. You know? That's one way to get more revenue.
You know what I mean? They're in prime time, 2 courts and then the other.
Yeah, maybe two
Something, yeah.
recommendations a week or something.
It's tough, it's so,
Yeah.
so many
It's a
moving
bit.
parts.
Yeah.
Okay, we do that tonight,
Very good,
right, make a motion to adjourn,
motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we adjourn.
We're continuing with second Thursdays.
Second Thursday. Second Thursday, so, yeah. Okay, so then that's September 11th.